It's time for
Save My Piggies.
Yes. We missed it a couple, last week I don't think we had one. So I'm really psyched about today's episode. We are really fortunate to have Jeannette on the line. Jeannette has peripheral arterial disease, and she's had some work done on her legs to kind of help some of the symptoms. And reading about Jeannette's story, she's 70 years old, but very active and so active, I think, that a lot of the symptoms that she had were that she thought would maybe related to some of the aerobic activity that she does, which is not uncommon. We've talked about peripheral arterial disease and we've talked about the symptoms, but a lot of times people have what we call atypical symptoms. So I always say not everybody reads our textbook as to how they should present. So I'm looking forward to hearing Jeannette's story and how she's persevered, because Save My Piggies is about patient advocacy, and it allows patients to tell their story. So Jeannette, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well.
Tell us a little bit about the symptoms that you were having and how you kind of sought out medical attention for them.
Well, when I think about it now that I look back, I think it probably started a year ago with my legs hurting sometimes off and on when I walked, and I always walk. I've walked all my life, and I have dogs that I walk every day. So I just thought I wasn't stretching enough, so I kept stretching more and more, and it kind of subsided, and it stayed kind of at a level that didn't worry me. And then it started getting, like, within 6 months ago maybe or so, it started interfering with my walks, where I'd have to stop and let my legs relax, and then I'd go again. I thought it was stretching. Didn't even think about, I didn't even dream that I had anything wrong with my arteries. So then, fast forward, and I started getting chest pains in, I think it was May, and they seemed, this is silly, but one night I ate 5 Ralston Purina crackers, and I remember it so vividly. As soon as I ate them, my chest just seized up, and I thought, oh my God, these are giving me heartburn. I can't eat these ever again. So I went to bed that night, and then the next day everything was fine. A couple days later, I started getting them again, but I wasn't eating crackers. So I thought, something's going on. And then it just progressively got more and more, but I always attributed it to heartburn, which I've never had, but I do have Barrett's esophagus. So I thought perhaps it was heartburn, because everybody says heartburn feels like a heart attack. So I kind of just poo-hooed the whole idea and kept going about, and then they kept getting worse and worse. Finally, my sister made me promise that the next time I had one, I'd go to the ER. Well, I had gone to 2 doctors prior to the ER. One doctor said, well, I do think it is heartburn, but I told her I had pain going down my arms, and she said, yeah, but I think that's just heartburn. I don't think it's anything to worry about. She listened to my heart, took my pulse, and that was it. So I went away, and then a couple weeks later, I went back to the doctor, a different doctor, and she said, I think it's your anxiety. And I said, oh, please don't tell me it's in my head. And she said, well, I think it is your anxiety. Nothing's wrong with your heart. And I said, okay, and I left.
But they did the same thing to my dad. So ultimately, what was the catalyst that got you to a doctor that properly diagnosed you, got your heart stented, and then that's when they also found what was going on with your legs?
That was when I was I was volunteering one morning, and I said, boy, my chest hurts. And my friend said, go to the hospital right now. I said, I don't want to go to the hospital. She goes, go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and my blood pressure was 200 over, I don't even know what the other number was.
Yeah.
Everything happened so fast. They got me in there. They gave me 3 nitroglycerin tablets, and they shoved me into the operating room, put the stent in immediately. I mean, it was like within an hour I had everything done.
Isn't that amazing?
You got stented in the heart, and then ultimately they diagnosed you with peripheral arterial disease, and you had some work done on your legs as well?
Yeah, when I was in the hospital that night, the cardiologist came, and I can't say enough good things about him. He's wonderful. And he was checking the pulse in my body, and he went behind my knees, and he said, And then he went down to my feet, and then he got a Doppler, and he found the pulse, and he said, do your legs hurt when you walk? And I thought, well, how does he know that? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you don't have any circulation in your legs at all. I said, what?
And so you went and you ultimately got, a procedure, and you weren't too happy with the one vascular doctor that you went to.
No,
you still
I
had pain.
I texted you and I said, can you recommend somebody in the Kansas City area? You recommended Dr. Surio. I called him. I went in there, and he said, "You're coming in next week, and we're going to be doing your legs. We're going to roto-rooter." He didn't say roto-rooter. I say that. We're going to do your legs, and then we're going to do your right leg first, your left leg second. So I went in 1 week, and he did my right leg, and then he did my left leg, and he put 3 stents in my right leg, 2 stents in my left leg. And it's made a huge difference.
And we actually have a special guest here. Our special guest, do you want to say hello to Jeannette?
Jeannette, hi there. This is Dr. Correa. How are you doing?
Oh, my gosh. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much.
You
I'm
are
so
my
happy
miracle
that
man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Too kind. I'm super happy that you're able to come and see me. And
What was the difference between the 2 different physicians for you and made all the difference in the world this time with Dr. Correa, Jeannette?
Well, the first guy, he just listened to my heart and checked the pulse in my leg and said, "Yeah, you don't have a pulse. Go walk for 90 days and come back." But he didn't do any kind of test to see, like I thought, I'm going to go back in 90 days, but he didn't have anything to base any improvement on. And I did rehab I kept doing rehab and it was killing me, but that's when I reached out to Kim.
Any lessons, Dr. Correa, that we can learn from this?
well, the first thing is this is a systemic disease. So if it's in the arteries of your heart, it's probably everywhere inside your body. That's why it's super important to have that thorough follow-through. I mean, I'm happy that when you're in the hospital, the cardiologist took the time to at least checking the pulses in your legs, which is great. But then it's super important to put things into perspective and say, you know what? I do have arterial blockage, and it's not just peripheral vascular disease. You also have carotid disease. You probably also have coronary disease. And all these things need to be evaluated. And as you can tell from what we've done in the office, it's very simple. We do those blood flow studies. They take about 5 to 10 minutes, and it's a great screening study to figure out what is it that's wrong with somebody and how we're going to figure it out. I hope your experience at the office has been great, Jeannette.
Oh, it's been wonderful. Everybody there is fabulous.
We really appreciate you both being here. Dr. Correa, really nice work. What did you call him, Jeannette? The Miracle Man?
Surio. I said it all wrong.
Well, thank you, and Jeannette. We really appreciate your courage, your perseverance, and, for getting a second opinion. That's really huge. Advocating for your health, and we hope you are living a better quality of life now.
Patient testimonials are not claimed to represent typical results or guarantee that anyone will achieve the same or similar results. This series is for educational purposes only, and any advice offered is not a substitute for medical advice from your own supervising physician. Do not act on any information provided in this series without explicit consent from your own healthcare team. For more information on vascular diseases, go to www.theweightofmyheart.org.